Start with you, Marcellus.
Hey, brother.
Did the Cowboys prove anything with the win yesterday?
They actually did. I think this is a wild card team. And I'm not talking about just the fact that they're going to play in the wild card round, but just there's a stranger danger to them, like a fear of the unknown when you play against the Cowboys. We've all been there before, the psychology of playing a team that is inconsistent. You may look at that same team and say, they're not that good or they're underachievers. And that's going to be disadvantage to you and your team. You don't know what to think of the Cowboys, except when the Cowboys use their formula, which is the running game to get their offense going, and then the defense shows up, as it did yesterday in that first half. If that team shows up with the talent that they have, you're right, Jason. It's not about their culture. It's about how talent trumps all. And in a 4-game season, when we're talking about wild card, divisional, championship, Super Bowl, I wouldn't bet against them in a conference where the 49ers are beatable. So who are you scared of? This is a wild card team that you don't know what they're going to present.
Talent does not trump culture, and I do believe that's how it was said, is that talent in football doesn't trump culture. First of all, yes, they did prove something by their win. They proved that they can play at the level that people maybe expected them to be playing at long before now. But when you're wildly inconsistent, and they've been very, very inconsistent, you look at the issues, hearing all of the sound bites coming from the owner/GM. You hear the is there going to be a Jason Garrett or not? There's so many issues that have been discussed for so long. You got to know that those things still exist. And is this a team that you're just going to say based off of one good showing against a pretty good team, not an elite team this year, a pretty good team, that now all of the woes that have plagued them during the course of this season are now gone? I don't see them even making the playoffs.
Ooh, really?
We're going
next week, bro. I think they did prove something. And more importantly, I would think that they proved something to themselves. And like you said, this team is wildly inconsistent. They were pretty good at the beginning of the season. Everybody was jumping on the bandwagon, including me, saying, wow, talented roster. They're going to go far this year. And that's the thing that disappoints me, but also can excite me. Remember, this is what goes on in December is what you remember as a team. And if you can get hot now, you can ride that into the playoffs. Yes. Can they continue what they did yesterday? They dominated the line of scrimmage on offense and the defensive line of scrimmage. And they held Todd Gurley to 1 yard for 6 carries at halftime, 11 yards total throughout the game. Ezekiel was running his butt off, but that offensive line was blocking one of the best men to ever play the defensive tackle position, Aaron Donald, yesterday. They were getting after him. And I think it's a reflection of Jason Garrett. And I think the Rams are the same thing, like that wildly inconsistent team this year. Why can you play so well yesterday and not play well last week? That's what Bill Belichick. So I love your point. Bill Belichick teams don't do that. They bring it every single week. That's what good coaches do. They get their guys to play hard every week. Can Jason Garrett get them to have that same effort and that same sense of urgency that they had yesterday that wasn't there? It was like they were quitting the last couple of weeks, not playing as hard as they could. But they did yesterday. If they do that every week, Jason, I'm telling you, to every Cowboy fan out there, get excited because they have talent. They could win. They could go on a run here.
So why wouldn't I just conclude, like, I've seen teams run on the Rams this year, and I've seen the Rams offensive line have problems this year.
Yeah.
And I saw a Rams team that reverted back to what has been the norm all season. They're a disappointment. The Cowboys a bit more desperate in a must-win situation. Both teams had to win, but I just think the Cowboys, when am I going to see them run for 263 yards again? That's not a formula that they're going to duplicate again based off what we've seen this year.
Well, we saw a fully motivated Seattle Seahawks team not even score a touchdown against this Rams team. So that Rams team then comes in with that momentum, and they're fully motivated because they're fighting for their season, and they run against a team that was fully motivating the Cowboys. But more importantly, in the short term, short scope, is as talented as any team out there. That's why in the long scope, let's talk culture all day. Well, except the quarterback. And overpaid. Let's talk long scope culture. Let's talk 4-game season. If you want to count the next 2 6-game season, that talent, you have to all of a sudden start to respect it fully if they can show up upstairs.
I don't think they're going to beat Philly. And And when you look at,
I disagree with you.
and that's fine.
Philly's
they are limping. They are limping.
I don't think they're going to beat Philly.
Okay.
And then now we're having the conversation after the game next week about how Dallas went back to what you just said about the Rams, reverting back to the old ways. You're stopping Ezekiel Elliott away from impacting the game. You are a couple completed passes away from having a good showing against a Dallas defense. We've seen what Dallas has been in a larger sample size of what they're not doing the right way versus the sample size of what we saw them do correctly against this Rams team. I'm not buying it. I mean, you guys sound positive about it.
No, not me.
I think that it's great to say that they had a great showing. I think it was a great showing yesterday. You saw the potential of what it could be. But to say that, I'm not going to look at everything that took place in weeks before, prior to this performance, and not base my assessment off of that. I don't see them beating Philly this upcoming week.
I think it's simple. It's Jason Garrett. If Jason Garrett, I don't know what he did this week. Maybe he didn't do anything
highlight
different.
reel.
What did he do?
Yeah,
He showed the highlight reel midweek.
He showed them how good they are.
Show another highlight reel. Show some Rocky films. I don't know. Remember the Titans. Whatever it takes. Get these guys in that same mindset. And that's what great coaches do. Am I right about that? I mean,
No question.
How about
get
just
them in
show
that
them
mindset.
this game? Just put this game on repeat and say, guys,
Let's do this.
that was a team that was in the Super Bowl last year.
All right, let's transition to the why I'm not high on the Cowboys, and it's the Rams. And the question here is Sean McVay closer to being the next Mike Martz or the next Sean Payton?
Oh, okay. Much closer to being the next Sean Payton, but why stop there? Look, in his second year, he had a team in the Super Bowl. Think about that. In his second year, a team that he inherited a quarterback, and Jared Goff, who you're not too high on, and I understand why, and he inherited Todd Gurley and those knees, and he took that team to the Super Bowl when that was a 4-win team just a couple years ago. Now let's look at Mr. Sean McVay in terms of where he ranks amongst great coaches all time. In his first 3 seasons, look at those names. Better start with still 2 games remaining than Mike Tomlin, Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Bill Walsh, and Bill Belichick. Now, usually somebody at a sports bar say, you trying to say he's going to be Bill Belichick? I'm saying no. He's on pace to be even better than Bill Belichick. But I don't know where he's going to land. But his takeoff right now in his first 3 seasons is second to none. So Sean Payton, if not even better. Don't forget, Sean Payton's only won 1 Super Bowl
Mike
with a
Martz
franchise.
looked good early.
Oh, yeah, but with a franchise quarterback in New Orleans, in Drew Brees, 1 Super Bowl. You trying to tell me he can't win 1 Super Bowl in his career? I think so.
That's an egregious.
What?
That's totally egregious to think that he's going to outpace and be better than a Belichick. I don't.
Man, he doesn't say that.
I don't.
He said Sean Payton.
No, Sean Payton.
No, all of them.
No.
He's on the list.
Did you say he's going to outpace Belichick or Sean Payton?
I don't know where he's going to land, but he's on pace to outpacing Belichick.
Yeah, I heard what he said. That's egregious.
That's egregious. It wasn't egregious Belichick's first 3 years to say that.
Yeah, but Belichick didn't have his success until his second time around.
Yeah,
he got to the New England Patriots.
Even more to my point.
I think he's more to the point of a Mike Martz. I think that Martz had a successful career. I think that he led a very, very talented group of men to a Super Bowl and came up short, just like what McVay did with his Super Bowl team. I think it was lightning in a bottle. Personally, I think it was lightning in a bottle. The more you get book on a coach, the better that coach has to be moving forward. You are seeing book taking place against Sean McVay this season. Personnel-wise, they had a superior personnel grouping last year. They lost some very key pieces in the offseason. Coming into this year, everybody thought that Aaron Donald would continue on the trajectory. He didn't have the type of season that people thought he'd have. Goff is not playing at the level that people would expect. And Gurley is all but disappeared except for maybe 1 or 2 games during the course of this year.
Ooh.
Those aren't recipes where you say this is a guy that's trending up versus possibly
Do you remember
plateauing.
Todd Gurley outside the Rookie of the Year campaign having 25 out of 26 straight games without 100 yards? You remember Jared Goff, who was 0-7, couldn't do a damn thing, became a franchise quarterback under this same guy? And Mike Martz is unfair comparison. Mike Martz never got a job after he did his wonder and lightning in a bottle in St. Louis. You saying that this guy, Sean McVay, would never get another job
No, I'm not saying he's not going to get another job.
So he doesn't map on to Mike Martz.
No, I'm not saying he's not going to get another job. What I'm saying is he's closer to a Mike Martz in terms of where I see his coaching trajectory versus a Sean Payton.
But, I think it comes down to personality. And look at it, Sean McVay. Sean McVay. When you watch him in meetings and he's doing his press conferences, from what I've heard, I've actually had a chance to hang out with him a couple of times. As long as he's willing to keep learning, I think he's going to be fine. Now, he went on, and I think they made a mistake by giving all these guys that much money, and now they're stuck with them, where Belichick doesn't do that. If he had copy genius. Copy Belichick, and I think he's smart enough to do that. I think he'll figure this thing out. He needs to. His biggest problem is he can't be wanting to be so liked, and I think that comes from young coaches. They want to be liked by the locker room. If he can get over that part of his game, then I think that he can go out there and do something great in this league.
Look, culture is the word that I used in the essay to start this out, and it speaks to why I think this guy's going to end up more Martz than Sean Payton. I think it's harder to establish a football-type culture in Los Angeles than it is in some of the other cities around the country. I don't think it's a coincidence that the Boston Celtics, the New England Patriots, the Boston Red Sox, hell, even the Boston Bruins have had incredible success with their sports franchises because there's something unique and analytical and intellectual about the culture surrounding Boston. Here in Los Angeles, one of the reasons why everybody got paid is because that's what you do here in Los Angeles. This is the land of superstars and glitz and glamour. And so Stan Kroenke running his team in order to compete, in order to get people to come to the stadium. Man, we better fill this up with as many stars as possible and create the illusion that this team is the same as Magic and Kareem and Kobe and Shaq and LeBron James, because that's what you do in Los Angeles. It's a city that is instant gratification. The pace and the methodical nature of football doesn't fit this culture. And so I think Sean McVay could be a classic, great football coach, but he's caught in a culture that's microwave and not the best to grow a football culture that's sustainable. And they're always going to be overpaying for guys like Jared Goff and others because that's what you do here in Los Angeles.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.